Good to see both of you.
Hey, Chris.
Let's start off on this immigration debate. Now, you can sort this one out for me, Stephen, if you like, because the Coalition have been successfully running an argument for a long while that immigration is out of control. In fact, Labor's admitted that. They need to curb it. The Coalition and Peter Dutton have been saying you've got to cap the number of international students as part of any reduction in immigration. Yet now they're going to vote against a cap on international students. Is this the Coalition just being oppositionist to deny Labor a small victory on this issue?
Look, I think it is, Chris. I mean, I spoke to Angus Taylor about this morning, and he insists that the bill that's being put before the Parliament it benefits the big universities in the cities, but it disadvantages smaller regional universities. I'm not buying that. I think this just is the opposition being obstructionist. The reality is immigration is out of control, and if this is going to put a cap on at least some of that problem, and look, and I'm not buying into this thing that international students are the sole cause of the housing crisis.
No, it's only one aspect of it, yeah.
But exactly, but it is an aspect, and that's the point. And is supporting at least a small step towards fixing the problem, I think, is the right thing to do for the opposition. But I think they smell blood in the water, and they're going for broke. Yeah,
Susie, the least cynical assessment I can put on this is that Dan Tehan and Peter Dutton and the others have got a very big immigration and population policy that they want to announce as a cohesive piece of policy, and they want to put it all in one policy announcement rather than agree with this move along the way.
Yeah, you'd think ideologically they'd be supportive of it. We've got some new research that's come out from the ANU today that shows that if they are going to be looking at immigration and cuts to immigration, it could be very, very popular. In just 1 year, this ANU demographic research has found support for immigration has gone from, or people opposing immigration has gone from a third of people to half of people. So that's a massive change in just 1 year. And the good news is that people are actually still supporting multiculturalism, 85%, but they really have concerns about the level of immigration. Labor knows it, the opposition knows it, and there's going to be more on this from both parties to come.
Yeah, well, with the cost of living crisis and with a housing crisis and with energy pricing crisis and the government admitting that it's not actually able to keep to its own immigration targets, it is a real issue. That's why people are worried about it. It is a real issue. But the Coalition's stance on this international student cap just leaves them exposed to this political attack from the Education Minister, Jason Clare.
You can't talk tough on immigration and then vote against putting a limit on the number of people that come to this country every year. Peter Dutton might pretend to be a tough guy on immigration, but the truth is he's a fraud.
Now, that's a pretty strong line, but I think that's going to resonate. That hurts Peter Dutton a bit, Stephen. I haven't seen Peter Dutton really have any political blunders or cop much heat of anything plausible in the last year or two, but I think he's going to have to wear this. Until people know what his plan is, this is a sort of a political punch to his jaw.
Yeah, and I think what he's done is he's allowed Labor to now set the agenda for him, where obviously, and Angus Taylor alluded to this when I spoke to him this morning, that they have got an immigration policy that they're going to release, but it's almost sped up the timeline now where they have no choice but to come out sooner rather than later and tell us what their plan is, because they blocked this plan. And as I say, look, there's a lot wrong with this plan and a lot more needs to be done, but they need to come out and say specifically what it is extra needs to be done, and it needs to be a broader look at immigration, not just international students, because we talk about the housing crisis, the cost of living crisis, the energy crisis, all of these things. These are a culmination of a lack of investment in infrastructure for decades by Australian governments that have left us in a position where we can't take the level of immigration that we've got now. Now, I'm not one of these people that's against a big Australia. I mean, we've got plenty of room, and if we actually prepare for immigration, we could take a lot more people in than we do. But at the moment, we have to take a lot less than we do.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at what Peter Dutton had to say.
I want Australian kids to get into housing. I don't want to see people 40 and 50 deep for rental accommodation. I don't want to see young families who are putting off having kids because they can't afford a house or because they're renting and they can't afford to save a deposit at the same time. And this government has created a huge mess.
Yeah, so we'll see what plays out there, but I think we'll hear more from the opposition soon about what their plans are. Susie, I wonder if you can help us out with this issue with Bunnings. This is an issue we've talked about in the past, going back probably more than a year, and that is facial recognition in supermarkets and retail places and whether or not you're warned about it. And Bunnings have been done over because they've been doing this to customers, sort of profiling some of the customers they don't want, people who are allegedly shoplifting and the like. But they've been done for breaching people's privacy. If you're going to do this, we need to be told about it, right?
Absolutely. I mean, they got a big rap over the knuckles from the regulators in New South Wales because they didn't let people know that they were using facial recognition technology. First question, how good is this technology? I mean, a friend of mine had too much Botox and her phone didn't recognise her. I mean, how good are this technology when they're using it to assess who they're going to let in their stores? True story, by the way, who they're going to let in their stores. And the real crux of this issue is that they're not just saying these are people who we know have stolen from us or been abusive to staff. It's people they think or they suspect of behaving in this way. And you do wonder if there's going to be some sort of racial or profiling that may be going on where people are making assumptions on the basis of how people look. Not only do we deserve to know what they're doing, but also I think the technology is not even good enough for them to be able to justify this kind of rollout.
Susie, I share your moral outrage and your interest in the substance of the topic, but you can't escape that fantastic tidbit you shared with us. I want to know the name of this woman. I want to see before and after pictures. I want to hear all about it.
It was actually just before her 50th birthday, and I will not name her, but she did go a little heavy on the Botox. She's like, oh, my phone doesn't recognise me anymore.
It's a very good phone then. Stephen, we've got to be aware of this now. I was thinking the other day, when you read Brave New World or 1984, they are so out of date now. In technology has made the amount of surveillance and tracking of everything we do far more extreme than even Aldous Huxley and George Orwell imagined.
Yeah, look, I'm not against the use of the technology in and of itself. It is the warning that's the issue and telling people that they are subject to this. But when you see some of the video footage from CCTV cameras within these Bunnings stores of the behaviour of some of the customers, you can understand why they think they need to use this kind of technology, not only protect their staff, but to protect other customers as well. And look, I subscribe to the theory, if you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to lose. But, you know, look, I think it's just more a blunder than bad policy, so to speak, if you know what I mean.
If only they could put the technology to good use. Like as you walk up to Bunnings, they present you with the sausage sizzle with sauce and mustard and no onions, just the way you like it, Mr. Kenny. Now, I want to go to a serious...
And horizontal on the bread, not diagonal.
Yes, exactly.